the Football Pod on Off the Ball in partnership with AIB, proud sponsors of the Football, Hurling and Camogie All-Ireland Club Championships. Hashtag the toughest.
Hello there, and you're very welcome along to episode 25 of the Football Pod with Paddy Andrews, and yes, he is home from Vegas, James O'Donoghue. Jimmy, before we get into Vegas and before we get into the football, we would like to wish you a very happy birthday on the
Thanks
pod.
very much. 28. Still.
Late 20s. Nice.
You look it.
I feel it.
You
I
look
don't
alright.
feel actually 28 today. I feel 128 today. But no, thanks.
Paddy Andrews have won.
You look better, Jimmy. I was expecting you to be like dragged through a bush here. Like, you pulled it together, to be fair to you. How long are you back from Vegas? Hours. Matter of hours. Is that all?
28 as well, I'd say. No, but just over 24 hours, yeah, maybe 28, 26
24 hours. And come here, you were attached to GA Go over there, right?
Oh, I got back just in time for the football bonanza. Just in time to lose every ounce of water out of my body twice, I'd say.
I would imagine so. Before we get into the football, Paddy Andrews had one request and one request only.
Go on.
And it was that you would give the listeners of the pod a story from Vegas. Give us something. We're not looking for it all, just a little bit of something.
A little bit of something. Jeez, I genuinely don't think
We've
I
young
can remember.
listeners here as well now, Jimmy.
It was just it was a 1-day trip to Vegas, which lasted 96 hours. It was just 1 day, pool parties, nightclubs, casinos, all of the above. Anything you'd expect from Vegas, it was there. I can't actually give one story.
You've just morphed into every inter-county manager this summer now. You're just lying to our faces.
Yeah.
Like, you're a disgrace. An absolute
we can't blame
disgrace.
it. We can't blame it. Of all the bets you put on last week, I sure as hell
Jesus,
hope
lads.
that you didn't put on the accumulator that you two geniuses put together last week by backing all the favourites.
Predictions, lads. I told you. Get rid of the predictions.
Yeah, we should never ever do that.
Yeah. By popular demand, we are ditching the predictions. 3 out of 8 came through. To be fair to you, I'd say with a couple of minutes to go in all of those games, they were probably en route to being right. But the drama, lads, the chaos, the craziness, the fact that people had their destinies in their own hands. We had so many last moment frees that either went over or just trailed wide or dropped short. It was absolutely insane, Paddy, wasn't it?
We said it last week. Finally, the championship was going to start. It just took 5 months and about 1 million matches, but we got there in the end yesterday. And again, yeah, we said it. We didn't expect much from yesterday. I think the GAA can kind of really vindicate it that this structure seemed to work. I still think, although yesterday was brilliant, and particularly 3 or 4 different games, the drama in the last couple of minutes, I get that, but I still think it's a flawed system. I still think only 2 teams should go through. But yesterday was brilliant because the football championship needed it. Everyone across the board, like from Kildare winning in Tullamore, we were in Breffni Park ourselves. Like Tyrone were inches away from going out of the championship altogether. Then we had the drama over in Cork and Tyrone as well. So it was brilliant for the championship. Now we see the draw this morning. We were waiting for this thing to kick into gear, and it is full steam ahead for the next 5 weeks until the All-Ireland final, which is brilliant because it's been slow and it's needed it, but it was a shot in the arm across the entire championship yesterday, which is brilliant. We're delighted. We want it to go well. We're not just being negative bastards. Like.
And in fairness to GAA Go, whatever about the quality of the matches, the quality of the interviews have been phenomenal. First of all, Jack McCaffrey first of all sticks a dagger on Paddy for being in the media. Then the boys get Davy Burke to say that Roscommon are going to win the All-Ireland. And now on the weekend,
that was Mark. That was brilliant for Mark. Like.
Paddy gets done for his teeth by Kilkenny. I must say now, whatever about anything else, the interviews on GAA Go have been 10 out of 10.
We've a bit of a laugh, I have to say. But we got Kilkenny over and I was laughing afterwards. I was like, do you know that old showbiz saying, like, never work with animals or kids on live TV? And we see that he was walking across the pitch towards us, and a smile on his face. He was ready for action, and I was like, this is going to be a shambles. Like, I did enjoy him starting off by literally listing off every sponsor he has. He was just looking around the entire stadium going, I know those guys. Yeah. But it was good. And then, do you know, we Desi Dolan over as well afterwards.
Yeah, that was great.
Which was very good. And that was, again, to be fair to Mark. Mark got Desi over, he's known very well. Obviously, after a really, really tough, like 10 minutes beforehand, they were literally through in the championship. Then the last kick from Hesland, they're knocked out. But no, we've enjoyed doing it. We've got a hell of a lot of stick for it, but I think people are slowly warming towards GAA Go. We're getting there in the end.
Definitely.
Plenty more of these interviews to come.
Those post-match interviews are class. We saw RTE try it with Damien Comer as well, and they had Kevin Feely up at the weekend.
It's not the same in RTE, though, is it? I don't think so.
Too vanilla.
Yeah, it's 6 iron down the middle from RTE. No,
Wyndham Clark. In
Wyndham
fairness,
Clark from RTE.
Kevin Feely's interview, and it was interesting listening to Ben McCormick talking about it afterwards as well. Like, this Kildare team, I feel like we've all tore our hair at times watching them and looking on. We've seen how well they performed against Dublin twice, and then they went out and they seemed to not perform anywhere close to what they could have done. And then at the weekend, there was just everything you want from a team from Kildare. Like, they had the clutch moment at the end, Flynn picking out Feely. He kicks that bloody free on his left foot, and listening to him afterwards talking about how he didn't have his speed, so he worked so hard on his left foot. He's right-footed, taking frees with his left. So Shane Walsh,
that was a phenomenal free.
That score, but the catch as well. Like, everything about it was
like an
spectacular. He caught it. NFL move. We had it on the screen as well, because obviously the Tyrone Westmeath game which we were at was coming down to the wire as well, and he caught it, and you're just thinking he's probably going to have to go short here. He's not, or is he going to go outside of the right?
I was even thinking inside the right when I saw him. I was like, can he curl this over?
He's lining up on the left, and we're like, this is ballsy. What a score. And Feely's had a bad run of it with injuries, lads. Like, awful run of it. Seems like, obviously we played against him a lot, but seems like a really good lad. And what a moment for him. And I'll hold my hand up, I had no time for Kildare. Seen them a lot this year, but that is a massive win. And of all the upsets, Cork beating Mayo, obviously Armagh nicking it against Galway, Krug gets free at the end.
Donegal delivering.
There was kind of, we said that would be probably tight, the Donegal Monaghan game on Saturday night, but I did not see Kildare beating Roscommon. That was the way the Rossi, everything that we'd seen the year today from the Rossies and from Kildare, but there were value for it. And like that, we've slated this championship structure, but for Kildare to get a home preliminary quarter final now, out of absolutely nowhere. And Kerry, probably the biggest winners of the whole thing. You're taking, they're under the cash and now they're straight through to the quarters. So, what a weekend, but special mention to Kevin Feely. What a score.
I'd say the Kerry dressing room would have, and I know Jack said it in an interview, but they would have thought that there was a small chance of Cork, alright. Do you know, I think that. Do you think? A small chance, yeah.
Just because Mayo, like, isn't it?
Yeah, and even the way that Loud nearly pipped Cork. Do you know, or pipped Mayo, I mean. That they did kind of maybe take the eye off the ball in that group after beating Kerry. So.
I tell you what though, a dangerous thing giving Cork a bit of confidence and a win like that, because that championship win, and setting themselves up now to go into Porky Queeve to have a preliminary quarter final against the Rossies. You look at
that'd be a good game now, lads.
How Cork are feeling now going into that game. Kevin Walsh and Cleary, they're getting a bit of back and they're getting a bit of joy out of the system to put in place. Who are we to doubt Stephen Sherlock coming on as a finisher when he comes on with 20 minutes to go and scores 1-5? Like, unbelievable how they managed that game at the end. Yeah,
no, in fairness to them, they did a great job. Like, and to leave Sherlock on the bench takes balls by them, because they don't have that much.
They don't have shooters.
Yeah, they don't have that much else in there. But they were 6 down. They got the dodgy penalty. Sherlock steps up, and I know that you can say, look, they got the dodgy penalty. That still needs taking and scoring.
Put away.
Look what happened to Galway and Shane Walsh. That's not a gimme. Like, you have to actually step up and show a bit of mental strength to slot that away. So for him to do that and scored a couple of points from play, no, it was all on Sherlock. In fairness, that I'd give that win to him. A brilliant performance by him.
Yeah,
I give credit to Cork for turning that around, 100%. But you cannot get away from the fact that with 13 minutes to go, Mayo were 6 points up. They don't score again for the rest of the game. That is unbelievable for the team, and this is not an inexperienced team. We keep saying this. For them to lose control of the game, and we've spoken on this pod before about trying to control momentum when the pressure comes on, because when you're getting to this stage of the championship, and now from next weekend knockouts, they're the top teams, it's inevitable at some stage of the game your opponents, they're not a terrible team, they're going to have some period, a purple patch. You need to try and control that. And for Mayo, like 57 minutes on the clock and they're 6 points up, and Brian Hurley's gone off the pitch for Cork. I mean, what odds are you getting on them not winning that game? And for them to not even score, they have a bit of a systems failure. The penalty, I agree, is soft. I don't think that's a penalty at all. And to be fair,
really, he pushed him in the back.
I don't think that's a penalty. I think it's very.
I think
soft.
it's a crazy decision by the defender. I think Colm O'Callaghan is running into 6 Mayo defenders. He actually has nowhere to go.
He's going
I'll
down
tell you,
himself.
when you run into 6 defenders, there is only one place you're going, and it's down. Like that is,
yeah, but
you've no other.
He gets pushed though.
But you're going to take some sort of. If you run into a group of,
don't
people,
get me started on the refs. I'm going to come after the refs in a minute now. But that I don't think that's
the refs.
But if you run into a group of defenders, you're going to get some sort of a touch. You're going to fall over.
It's a forwards tackle by a defender. He's pushed. There's no need.
I would say it's 60-40 against. I can understand that it was given, but it was harsh. I would say if you're on the receiving end.
You reckon there was somebody in the ear saying we screwed Cork over last week? Let's give them something this week.
They weren't screwed over last week.
I know, when you're joking. Yeah, the game management is a massive thing for Mayo. Like that like Stephen Cohen goes off.
Yeah, big leader for them. Yeah, I get that.
You know, big leader. And I thought this was interesting too, right? And I'm going to come back to Mayo with this point. But Tyrone obviously rest Darren McCurry with a view to, they knew they were going to be second or third more than likely, with a view to keeping them fit and fresh for their next game. Galway start the game without Damien Comer and Dylan McHugh. I don't know how bad those injuries are, but you can.
We don't know if they're resting though. Do you reckon they're resting teams when they're not? Like Tyrone resting McCurry. Like I couldn't believe McCurry wasn't in the starting lineup, and then we seen him in the warm up. We're going, what is going? There's no way they've dropped him. Surely that is a ballsy.
But they had to get time into Rory Canavan as well, didn't they? There does come a time where you have to play your bench.
They were going to be knocked out.
They thought they'd wipe Westmeath.
They did.
They did. They got it wrong. They thought that.
The point I'm making is because, and we've said this word, and we're not going to mention this word again, lack of jeopardy, because maybe teams didn't possibly cop the ramifications of what was going to happen here. There was an element of protecting the players that, possibly had nicks or niggles. Mayo made a decision to let Ciarán O'Connor go away and play 60 minutes of club football on the Friday night. Talk about leaders in that Mayo dressing room. If you had Ciarán O'Connor on the pitch for 5 minutes at the end of that game,
got one.
Would it have been a better use? Would it have been a better use of his time?
Do you think he would have scored in those last 30 minutes?
He'd had a shot anyway.
Or shut down a kick out. And now, and this is like, there's an element of misfortune in it for Mayo that they lose that game and then
it's fine lines.
Just by chance, they have to be drawn away to Galway next weekend. It's Tailteann. That is, like, it's great for us as the neutrals looking in. You've got a couple of unbelievable knockout games next weekend off the back of this. But if you're a Mayo fan, I mean, you've had a bad run of it for the best part of a decade. But to throw that away with the position they were in and now the position they find themselves in going into next weekend, yeah.
It's like the definition of textbook Mayo. Like, to be National League winners, nearly All-Ireland final, or All-Ireland favourites, and then to just throw it away in the space of 13 minutes.
But the steamroll Kerry by 1,000,000 points to kick off this All-Ireland series, and you're thinking, whoa, these guys are back.
But to be fair,
for it to finish the way it has for them is...
The way that Mayo play...
It's not finished.
No, it's not finished.
I know.
The group stage to finish the way it's finished for them is... Are you trying to put a positive spin on this, Tommy? Because that is...
No.
You'd be so boiled doing
But
that.
they didn't practice what we said was their main flaw. They can't attack against a packed defence who work hard and are centrally based. They couldn't get out wide, couldn't get shots off. So they've
Jimmy,
actually...
On that, Jimmy, I just... There's a couple of times... I think Paul Flynn actually did a piece on it last night or something. You can see they are trying to work on this.
I don't know.
They are, because you can see, there's a couple like Jordan Flynn gets a score in the first half. Ryan O'Donoghue as well. You can see the shape they have where they're trying to keep the centre channel clear, and that's the first stage of it. To actually have the right shape, and we actually seen it when they played Armagh as well earlier on in the National League as well up in the athletic grounds. They're getting bodies really wide, they're getting bodies really deep, but they can't help themselves from trying to run through the middle.
See,
and that is there's no point in having all the stuff out on the sideline and doing it once or twice, which they did yesterday. They get a couple of scores and going, yeah, that is really good against the set defence, but they just fall into their old habits.
Do you know what it is?
They can't help themselves but running straight through the middle, and it's like it's a turnover every single time.
100%. The forwards are in the right positions, right? But because they've been so reliant on their defence for scores for so long, the boys are coming up with,
Paddy Durkin, Loftus.
They're going, I'm going to kick this score now, run through the middle, turned over, going the other way. But so
every single time you go through the middle, forget about it.
So those defenders who are now going to be part of this new, say, tactic against defensive teams, they're going to have to completely change the way they play. They can't be running into those central channels. They just have to give it wide, which is, it's alien to them, but it has to happen.
But you'd nearly say, like, Paddy Durkin is a really good shooter. You go, Paddy, just play at left half forward. When we get into this position and the team, our opponents have 13 guys back, because they're going to face it in Salt Hill on Saturday, and if they don't figure it out, or Sunday, if they don't figure it out in 5 days' time, that's it for another year for them. Get your shooters on the arc and just have to be patient. Yeah. But the idea yesterday, there's times where they did it and you're going, okay, it's clear they've spoken about this, it's clear they have the basics of what's required, but they can't help themselves. But going through that centre channel, and that's against Cork, and no disrespect to Cork, brilliant win for them. Cork are not going to win the All-Ireland. You know, the challenges for Mayo are going up and up and up, and it starts at the weekend against Galway.
What's the gap?
It's just a disastrous 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That could cost them the entire season.
What's the gap between the prelims and the quarterfinal?
2 weeks. It's week after week.
It's week
1
on
week
now, baby.
Oh, jeez, yeah, that is.
Yeah. So Armagh, Derry, Kerry-Dublin now have a 2 week break.
Yeah, which is invaluable.
It's invaluable. It's incredible. The difference that makes to how your season looks from here on in.
But it's for those guys, it's the quarterfinal, and then the semis are 2 weeks, and the final is 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's their battle rhythm from now until whoever wins it. But for everyone who's in second and third place, you've these couple of weeks again after a heavy couple of weeks as well. And there's not, like, the big thing. You look at Galway even yesterday. Sean Kelly was leaving on crutches, I believe.
Was it crutches?
Yeah, okay. I read something today, crutches, and it could be precautionary. What a player he is for them. These are the things we knew would come down, would happen with this championship structure. And that's, to be fair, that's probably the risk. We'll rest some guys, we'll try and manage it as best we can. The teams are trying to figure it out as much as anyone else. It's their first go at it. But I thought, like Tyrone and the Curry thing, I couldn't believe that. I don't think Tyrone have the luxury of doing that. Galway perhaps haven't won their first 2 games, and we're definitely through. At least you could say, okay, we'll rest these guys. But what a great drama this weekend, but what a weekend we have set up for this weekend with the knockout games.
Can I make the point, right? And I know we're all getting used to this format, and the teams are obviously figuring it out too, but I think next year when teams are there, they'll be like, well, look how Mayo and Galway had their fate in their hands in the final round of games, and they mismanaged it. We won't let that happen next year. I wonder, will the emphasis in those final games be a bit more, teams be a bit more aware of it? And Paddy, if we didn't have 3 teams going through, and this is just to stick up for that for a moment, we wouldn't have Galway-Mayo this weekend.
No, I accept that. But
so maybe there is a case for it.
Hold on a sec. This is recency bias kicking in here, T. We had a brilliant day yesterday.
Yes.
What about the previous 5 weeks?
Yeah, no, definitely. It was a slower build up, but like that's the fact that the provincials are there too. You know, there's a lot to iron out here. I think there is some good
do you think they
here
won't tweak this at all for next season?
Oh, they will. Oh, for next season.
So for next season, do you think it's going to be, no, we did it in 2023, we're doing the exact same, 3 teams are going to go through?
I'd have to double check it. I have a feeling that this is set for a year or 2, or it could be 3 years.
So they don't even have a choice of changing it?
I'm not sure. They could obviously bring it up in special Congress. I think I'm not sure there'll be any big changes. There could be small tweaks. I don't think there'll be any big changes.
Look, I agree. I enjoyed it yesterday as much as anyone, and I can't wait for this weekend as well. That's great. But you can't just turn around and say, oh, the whole thing is perfect now. The GA were masterminds.
No. We're not saying that, but there was something in what we're seeing. Like, there's something different here. One thing that needs to be improved on, and it was different obviously for different broadcasters and different stations, and it's very difficult when you're covering a game live, but surely there's technology somewhere that can be implemented in. The GA league tables account on Twitter had the live permutations going as the games are going on. Like, when you were listening into the end of, I was in the car for the end of the Galway Armagh game and Tyrone Westmeath game, I had to pull in and get the phone going in one hand to watch one of them, get another phone on Twitter to see what the story was at the tables. Do you know, it was
we should be doing a Let's Talk Saturday style show
like this.
Yeah,
future. Yeah,
there you go. The money, baby, we'll do it.
AIB are going to sponsor that for us.
Possibly. Good idea. But yeah, no, some crack. And we're going to get into all that now in the next little while. To give you the results of the weekend, Derry were already through. They bet Clare by 6 points, 119 to 113. Bit of big news off the back of that. Colm Collins announced immediately after the game that he was finishing up his tenure over Clare after 10 years as manager. A decade in the game, the longest serving intercounty manager at the minute. it's some stint that he's put in, and you've seen all the messages that have come out over the last little while. Paddy, when someone like that is kind of given so much and has brought so much to the table, can he just be allowed to, go away and enjoy a nice quiet private life now with a GA, or do you just allow him to go?
Well, he doesn't owe anyone anything. Like, that's, you look at the responses from everyone who's played for him, and we would have come across him a couple of times. We obviously did a couple of training camps in Clare, would have played them in challenge games and stuff, and he would have spoken to him with a cup of tea. But he came on this show obviously a couple of years ago as well. Just absolute respect across the board from his players, his current players, his ex-players, opponents. What a job he's done. We speak about, like, managing the Clare football team is a tough job. The reality is, what is success? What's the definition of success when you're in the Munster Championship with Kerry? You're in lower divisions. He never once uttered any kind of remarks about it. He said, what players have I got? What have I got at my disposal? And let's go and make the absolute most of this. Got Clare promoted to Division 2, kept them there for years. Couple of seasons they were one game away from getting into the top tier. Couple of Munster finals, All-Ireland quarter-finals. You could argue that is as successful as Clare could possibly be under his tenure, and to keep coming back. And he obviously lost a couple of players stepping away, but he kept putting the shoulder to the wheel. Unbelievable respect for Colm Collins, what he did. I think it was universal praise across. You see the tributes on social media and things like that. And for him, if he doesn't want to even look at another football ever again, that's completely his choice, because he doesn't owe anyone anything.
I can confirm he's taking training tomorrow night in Cratloe. So
well, there you go. So it's the deal with you now, Tommy. Jesus.
Exactly.
How would you fill that? How would you fill that gig, though? I mean, they are big boots to fill. That is going to be a very
for Clare, who comes in.
Very tough job. Because seeing as everyone has so much respect for Colm and that he's done such an unbelievable job, it's so hard to follow that. Even we saw in Limerick this year when Limerick lost Billy Lee, and that was only
Billy Lee. Yeah,
he wasn't there as long as Colm Collins, but I mean they found it very hard to fill that, and the players found it hard to change.
It's a very good point. I would say one thing though, like Colm Collins was involved in Clare football at minor level and underage level before he took over the job. I can't imagine he's left this place, high and dry without having there's a plan in place. There's a lot of very good football people. But there's a lot of very good football people in Clare. The underage structures, the S&C development that they put in place in the county has come on unbelievably amount in the last couple of years. Like Gary Brennan, I'd recommend go and have a read, wrote about what it was like in the 5 years before he came on board. When they regraded the leagues, Clare ended up in the basement division for 5 years before that. They couldn't get out. They had legends as managers. Paddy, Mick O'Dwyer had been in before that. A couple of other really, really impressive managers. They were doing really well at club level. Cameria Bricken had been in All-Ireland finals, and it wasn't clicking at county level. Obviously the Hurlers had won All-Ireland in 2013 off the back of that. So to be able to just bring that level of consistency and quality to the table was just unbelievable. I thought Owen Cleary's statement kind of captured it. His captain: you gave us hope, you made us dream, you filled us with confidence, the ultimate players manager. Thank you for everything, Colm. You are a special man. And as the old saying goes, we were never playing for Clare, we were playing for Colm Collins.
Oh, that is nice. That's a nice statement.
A nice way of putting it.
There you go.
But we'll be back right after this on the Football Pod, and we will be going through next weekend's preliminary quarter-finals. We will take a look at the Tailteann Cup semi-finals, where we've got a Royal Rumble of a derby. Andy McEntee's Antrim are taking on Meath in Croke Park, and Down and Laois upset the odds this weekend to make it through as well. The Football Pod is brought to you every week with thanks to AIB, proud sponsor of the Senior Football Championship. Check out #TheToughest for more. We'll chat to you in a moment. You're very welcome back to episode 25 of the Football Pod with Paddy Andrews and James O'Donoghue. James, there is a certificate in the post for you this week.
What's that, Tom?
Go on. You passed your Punditry exam.
I had a great weekend, I must say. I knew, I just played the long game with Cork. I knew there was something brewing there. And I took an unmerciful amount of stick, not only on this podcast.
Turn off his mic.
Not only on this podcast, but outside of it. And sure enough, they came good. I was playing the long game. And not only that,
you're some strategist, isn't he?
Exactly.
He's unbelievable.
I was playing it for this day. I also said that the Derek Canterbury was going to be top
Hold
one
on.
of the top players this
We
year.
all-
I said
we
player to
all
watch.
agreed up
No,
that.
I said player to watch. I said he is going to be head and shoulders above the rest. Sure enough, kicks 10 points this weekend. It was all aimed towards the 18th of June.
There you go, James. Paddy, you have to give him credit for that.
Jimmy's playing chess. We're all playing checkers. That's the game. Look at what a man. High level strategy.
But in fairness to Cork, though,
In
they have
fairness.
improved like week by week. I mean, they started off by being beat by Meath in a shocker, and they.
Hey, look at me. Hey, hold on. Meath are in a touch.
I know, but that was a bad day for Cork. But since then, they've come on and on and on. Rattle Kerry,
Would you?
beaten Mayo. I think I wouldn't rule them out the weekend.
Would you? That's what I was going to ask. Do you fancy them at home to the Rossies? The Rossies have been trending in the right direction pretty much every week this season, even some of their defeats in the National League.
Did the Rossies get a bit carried away? They had themselves. They had the hotel booked for the final.
It's
I would argue.
usually me sticking the knife in on the Rossies, but we'll let Jimmy do it this week.
No, I'm only joking, but that will be a close game. I know that. Like Cork will bring a crowd. They'll sense a chance of victory, definitely. Like even in that Kerry game, you could feel the crowd get more and more involved when it got a bit tighter. I think that they'll think that they can win this, and they need the crowd to win it. They need support. The Rossies will travel as well with Corky Queeve. What a venue as well for it. Savage field. Hopefully be a nice weekend with the weather. Big crowd. Is it not a nice weekend for the weather?
Well, it's certainly not supposed to be. It's given rain at Galway-Mayo on Sunday.
Well, do you know what?
So
bad weather could even suit Cork the more I think about it. But I would not say with any confidence who's going to win that game.
Question: Galway-Mayo was on Sunday.
yeah,
On what?
on RTE.
No.
RTE have been granted a bonus game in this
This
year's
is a
right.
disgrace. This is a disgrace. What? This is an absolute disgrace. That was GA goal written all over it.
You're getting a Tailteann Cup
scam.
game, I think.
Did you just throw your pen across the table?
This
a la
is
Eamon Dunphy?
outrage. Outrage. The nation's platform has been shafted there. Who made that call? Give me his number.
I'd say it's Larry. You have him speak.
Larry, I'm never doing another draw with that fella.
So that's the only game on Sunday then for the All Ireland.
No, you got
Yeah,
the
but for
you've
the
got your
other-
you've got your Tailteann Cup
Tailteann games,
semi-finals.
right, no?
Yeah, so it's Meath and Antrim at 2:00.
Yeah.
We'll be coming back to these in a little while. Down in Laois at 4:00 and Galway-Mayo sandwich in between an RT1 at 3:00 on Sunday. I'll be there actually in Pearse Stadium. So
Very
that'll be
nice.
fun.
So the
That'll be fun.
Rossies Cork Saturday, I think that'd be a really good game. Rossies had a bad day yesterday, but you've got to. That doesn't just throw away their entire season.
No, it
they
does not.
have to bounce back from that. But like we said, they lost to Clare last year before the quarterfinals. A bad result for them down in Crow Park. Brilliant for Clare,
different.
but for the Rossies, you feel there's a different energy about them this season. Davy Burke has been telling people there's a different energy about them this season, and they have to bounce back for their own credibility, their own mentality, all the work they've done over the last 6.5, 7 months. Surely they're going to bounce back and get a result against Cork this week.
Yeah, it's going to take
I'd
good
say-
management from him to actually bounce them back now, because they've almost been on such a smooth.
There's been no real
Yeah,
setbacks. Yeah.
this is a big one.
They
This is a big
lost to
setback.
Galway. They lost to Galway in the Connacht semi-final and came back and put in a really good performance against Dublin in the first game of the All Ireland. They had time. They had a couple of weeks to do that. This is like a 6-day turnaround. There's no way they expect it to be in this position. No way.
What's the obsession with giving man of the match to losing players? Enda Smith has won it 3 times in a row, and I'm not saying he didn't deserve
He
it.
is a
I
super
gave
player,
Edison
though.
man of the match one of the days, and they
Yeah.
won actually against.
He
Sligo.
is.
I think.
I'd say
Do you see the point he got from the? Was it in the second half?
13.
Oh, from the
His
from the
point
left
at the end.
I
Point
mean,
at the
the
end
left
of the
corner
game
forward
was
position
unbelievable.
where he was kind of going to give it to the runner, but then he took a step back. He had to sort his feet out and just put it over from a tight angle. Unbelievable.
That was the level of the
score.
game in the
Like
in
so
Inverton.
much skill and class involved in that. And his finish for the goal, now in fairness, keeper
Great finish.
didn't cover himself in glory, but still a very good finish to open the body. Anytime you open the body shows a bit of class, I think.
Cliff
funny.
did it against Louth
Yeah.
as well. The same Califf in goal. Not really a goalkeeper. It was a bit too easy. Just looks a bit easy, doesn't it?
He just sat him down.
Still a
Well,
very bit of class.
thing about it
finish,
though,
but
he's going at full pace, and I thought it was quite telling. We won't come back to Peter Ganavan omitting all of Dara's points and showing him missing a shot from 21 yards, but he said, do not underestimate that finish from David Clifford. Of course Peter Ganavan said that. He is the perpetrator of one of the greatest All-Ireland final goals of all time. Coolly rolling, slotting the ball into the corner.
If you ever do that finish in training, you'd always say Canavan. Do you know? He has defined that finish. It's a class.
I tell you, Jimmy,
he owns it.
I'm not going to give you the full credit for the Cork one, but for Dara Canavan, I was there yesterday watching the game. Tyrone were pretty poor in attack. What a performance by Dara Canavan. Yeah. We knew the talent is there. He obviously had an impact role 2 years ago in winning the All-Ireland in 2021. We said we're kind of waiting for him to kind of step up and complement McCurry. He's an exceptional player, lads. We were watching him and it was like he'd be an absolute horror show to mark. Like, he's so sharp. He's hardy as well. Like he wins shitty balls that are difficult to win. He's like we said this about Ian Burke. He's nearly a ball winner as well, even though he's not massively big. But he's so elusive. Geez, poor old Kevin Maguire got the run around.
Where's he basing himself?
But I think anyone. He was inside yesterday because McCurry wasn't playing. So Tyrone, I think Tyrone were really poor yesterday up front, and they missed McCurry. They're still trying to bring in, Colm Kilpatrick and Brian Kennedy in and out of kind of different stages of play and trying to hit long balls into them. That didn't really work for him yesterday. They had Matty Donnelly kind of inside with him at times. Matty Donnelly didn't really play well yesterday at all. Couldn't get into the game. It was only for Derek Canavan Tyrone were out of the championship yesterday.
That is mad.
There's absolutely no.
His control, Paddy, like his right foot, left foot.
Yeah, that's his balance, his agility. He's an absolute horror show to mark. Like, he's just so sharp, and you could see he was confident. Yes, he just clipping scores. He was that's big responsibility on a young man's shoulders. But look, he's probably well used.
I'd say he loves it. Yeah, but I'd say he thrives in it.
But you're looking at Tyrone again yesterday, and it was like they have a really good goalkeeper. They have an exceptional midfield. The two boys at midfield are, I'd say, probably the only two who are getting back to the All-Ireland form of 2021. And they've got McCurry, if he's fit, and whatever was going on yesterday, and Canavan inside. They tick a lot of boxes, but there's just something not happening for Tyrone. We've been waiting on a lot of teams to put their hand up and put out a performance, and we're thinking yesterday with Tyrone, is this the day? And it wasn't at all, really. Like they easily could have been out of the championship, but
I don't think the Tyrone ever turn up though in those kind of games and hammer someone like a Kerry would or a Dublin would.
No, but even Jimmy, it's just like you're looking for a slickness, a cohesion in attack, really solid at the back. They had none of those things. I was just like, I was trying to figure out like what are the positives for Tyrone to take outside of an exceptional individual performance from Canavan, and there's none.
I suppose that's the disappointing thing, that they conceded 18. Like that's good kicking. 18 points.
Westmeath left a few behind as well.
And lads, of all the clutch free takers in the country, like, you back John Heston,
we had
he's done it
nailed on to kick that,
and it was it was a tricky free. He put it on the side he should have put it on. Like, he probably put a bit of height into it. It was late in the game.
It's a very different free though.
Oh, it is, but him, Jimmy, he's top quality. Yeah. We were like, it was myself, Murphy and O'Shea looking at it, and it was like every one of us nailed on. He's getting that.
You'd have backed John Heston to kick that.
I think Desi Dolan the camera was cutting to him on the side. It was like he's thinking he's nailed on to get it. Like, of all the players, it's not just an average free taker. It's Heslan, and it looks good when he kicks it, and it just trails.
Didn't come in.
But I think at the time he kicks that, I think Galway are still drawing with Armagh, so I don't think Tyrone would have been out at that point. And then he misses that. Grugan kicks his free, and then obviously the late drama and Carrick and Shane Walsh then misses. Shane Walsh's free was harder, and it was a lot further out than Heslan's. But for Westmeath, they were ahead in all three of their group games at half time. Put in big performances and just little breaks.
Are they the poster boys of their new format? Tailteann Cup winners 2022. They're getting championship games this year. They're competing. They're not getting over the line, but they're growing.
We expected that from them, didn't we? Like we said at the start, the surprise for me was that they didn't get out of Division 3, which was the surprising thing.
New management team maybe threw off a little bit, or taking a while to settle.
I don't know. It's just like we're like looking at Armagh's victory yesterday. Like McGeaney, they've been so close in a lot of big games, but just didn't get any luck. Yesterday was their moment that they finally won a big championship game. for Westmeath, there was a couple of games in the National League where the games won, and late rallies cost them that. I thought it's as difficult a group as they could have got, really. But this is where I heavily disagree with Jimmy. Jimmy wanted to cut it down to 8 teams in the championship. I didn't agree with that, and I think there should be 4 groups of 4, and I think Westmeath and Cork kind of show that. But Westmeath, like, they're still in Division 3 next year. That we asked Desi Dolan afterwards, like, the priority, they are a better team than Division 3. They've shown that in the championship. They need to just hit the ground running and make sure they blitz that division next year, because we've always said they've technical players. Ronan O'Toole, Ray Cannell and Heslin, obviously, and these guys. It's just inches, big decisions. Like, you think the first day of this group, they go up, they should have won in Armagh in the athletic grounds. And Armagh get a fortuitous goal, the kind of the Reno O'Neill shot drops to Turbot, who pokes it in. And then yesterday again, they've made progress, but they'll be disappointed today that they're out of the championship. And as a whole, you feel they probably deserved a little bit more out of their 2023 campaign than what they've got.
Luke Loughlin swung over a couple of very nice points as well.
Yeah,
ended with 4.
They got good players. They have really good players.
Good forwards. If you have the good forwards, you have a basis for something.
Yeah. You've got a chance.
I'll be honest. I didn't see the Con Kilpatrick Kevin Maguire incident live, where Kilpatrick is true on goals. He gets clattered and taken out of it.
Stone cold stunner. He gets a stone cold stunner as he's running through on goal. Like.
Someone texted me and said, will you please ask Paddy Andrews to read the rule book, blah blah blah.
No, I will never read the rule book.
Relax. So I went and I had
hold
on. But I went and I had a look at the incident, and next thing, I tweeted what I thought of it, and your man tweets me down saying, "You idiot! You need to read the rule book."
Who is this guy? Block that guy.
I don't know.
Block that guy.
But listen. Apparently, it's like the apparently kid. Technically, the rule is, because Kevin Maguire is an evil genius, and he like tried to clothesline him across the head and take him down. It was a yellow card, and it wasn't. It was denying.
Well, what was the? Having read the rule book last night in the midst of watching Rory McIlroy have a shambles again, Tommy? What is the rule then? The
rule is that a black card foul can only be one of 5 different things, and Kevin Maguire's foul on Kilpatrick couldn't meet that. I'm going to need a second.
But hang on, it was a different section of the rule for the Kerry penalty. It was an offence committed inside the 21, denying a goal scoring opportunity.
Clear scoring.
It was the definition of that rule.
No, not clear. No. It apparently it wasn't.
My sources told me.
Rather than it being a cynical foul, this is classified in this GA rule.
I disagree. We said even on this last week, it had nothing to do with being cynical.
Can't disagree. It's black and white.
What are you saying on cynical?
It's a definition.
Are you saying
it doesn't need to be? In the rule, it doesn't need to be cynical. It's a foul, denying a goal scoring opportunity inside the 21. It's black card penalty all day long.
But even still,
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with the merits of your point.
Question,
but it's wrong.
Are we trying to say Kevin Maguire's tackle was not cynical yesterday? Is that what you're?
No, it was cynical, but that's not in the rule bit. That doesn't matter.
Exactly. It was cynical, but not in the eyes of the GA black card rule. It wasn't cynical.
Okay, the rule that
you're allowed to come in and try and decapitate someone as he's clean through and goal is actually allowable. We'll just give you a yellow and tap it over.
That's what Goff said last week on air when he was doing media. Goff said that Sean Powder would have been better off punching Paul Ganey in the head, getting a red card.
Did he say that?
No, but you have that example. He said punching Ganey, getting a red card, and it would have been a 14-yard free, and it wouldn't have been a thing. James, there's no point in reading the rule because I read it last night and I was corrected. Live.
So the rule is committed on an attacking player who is denied a goal scoring opportunity, then a penalty kick and a black card should be awarded. I don't understand where the confusion is. That is the definition of it. It's more stonewalled than the Ganey one.
Is this Larry McCarthy again? Are we going after Larry? This is the second time tonight.
I don't know.
Larry, ring Larry.
We can't.
I'll ring him here now.
We can't blame Larry for that one.
Larry, have you got 5 minutes?
But there's a flaw in the rule if that's not the black card penalty.
Absolutely, flaws in the rule. But I tell you what to do, referees in this country and in this sport, a lot of help would be if the GA come out and just found a way of cleaning up the amount of rules. This game should not be so complicated to officiate, you know? And if there's another give respect, get respect campaign, grand.
Yeah.
But go fix it. Make it easier for them.
Give respect,
get
respect.
But when you say...
Make it easier for the referees.
Pull him down, right? So if he had grabbed him around the waist rather than around the neck, that was a black card then.
Yeah.
That is
Seemingly so.
That's
It's
Brendan.
crazy stuff.
So you can come in and do a flying karate chop, and that's not. So that's the. What are we going to see
People's
this
elbow
weekend?
when he's on the ground now.
Oh yeah. From the right off the top rope, like.
So Noel Mooney, good call. GA rulebook, sort yourself out.
I don't know.
Right. I thought it leaves a sour taste, doesn't it? A bitter aftertaste.
You don't have to apologise to any referees, Paddy, do you?
No, absolutely not. You can keep waiting. I'm not. No way.
Okay.
No way, man.
Let's move from Tyrone-Westmeath on to Donegal-Monaghan, another game you were watching. Tyrone have drawn Donegal now in Ballybuffet. We have watched Aidan O'Rourke get this together with Paddy Bradley and his team up there in Donegal over the last while. Paddy McBurty was... who was he chatting with? Who was on with Paddy McBurty after the game? I can't remember who was doing it on GA Go. Can you remember who was doing the interview with McBurty afterwards?
Ashling, no?
No, it was with another player. I can't remember now, but they were...
Brendan McCall got man of the match.
McCall. Exactly, yeah.
I gave him man of the match.
Brilliant.
Well deserved.
It was a great call.
Thank you.
Were you impressed? You were impressed with Donegal?
I was surprised at the game. There was two late changes from both teams. Paddy McBurty was named to start and didn't start, and Shane Carey was named to start for Monaghan and didn't start. Yeah. And it was two sweepers who went in, Oran Doherty for Donegal and Darren Hughes for Monaghan, and we were like, oh Jesus Christ, this is going to be a 10-8 match. And it was such an odd game, right? It was a beautiful evening up in Alma. Both teams were playing 14 men behind the ball, and I don't think there was one contact tackle in the whole first half. There was like 20. I think the score was 13-9. So it was 22 scores in the first half. Every time a team attacked, they were kicking the ball over the bar, despite both teams having 14 lads back inside their own 45. So it was just, they were trying to play a defensive style, and it was so passive. Remember we seen Monaghan do this in the Ulster final against Derry. They had loads of lads back doing absolutely sweet fuck all, and that was happening again. But that suited Donegal. To be fair, they were kicking some lovely scores. Darrell Whale, Oisin Gallen, who's kind of we know the talent Oisin Gallen has, but had loads of bad injuries, just can't get it together. The last kind of 3 or 4 weeks, we're starting to see him get a real run of form. I thought he was very good the other night as well. He ran out of gas towards the end of it. But Donegal, it suited them. It was score for score. It was a really entertaining game, if being quite low on intensity and things like that. But for Monaghan, like, that's a big loss for them. Like they've done a lot of hard work to put themselves in a really strong position in the group, and they'd be disappointed with that second half. Jack McCarran, they went with Jack McCarran this time, and to be fair, horses for courses, I agree with all that stuff. When a fella scores 8 points from play, you probably have to play him the next day. This is the conundrum that Cork are going to face with Stephen Sherlock. But Brendan McCall ate Jack McCarran. They kept McManus on the bench, and just that scoring threat, they just lacked that little bit of edge up front, Monaghan, which we felt they might. Donegal, probably, to be fair, they did lots of good stuff from where they were 2 months ago, but they ran out of gas after about 50 minutes. Paddy McBurty comes on for Oisin Gallen, and they were hanging on. They lost all their shape. They were kind of sitting back, and it was the clock that nearly saves them in the end. They get a big score off another questionable free. Rory Beckham comes out, and there's a collision around midfield, and Sean Patton, to be fair, nails an unbelievable kick. I did not think that was a free, and I tell you, not a lot of people in the whole stadium thought it was a free either.
The shoulder, the shoulder,
yeah. And I could in defence of the ref, because Mo's on side with the referees. I think he thinks Beggan blindsides him, which I have strongly come out against. I've been on the end of them. I don't like that type of tackle, but he doesn't. It's just Beggan just has more strength and gets there.
Bigger man.
Yeah. But for that free, and that turned out to be a massive turning point. But for Monaghan, they'd be kicking themselves. But I think the first half, it was just low in intensity from both teams, and that played into Donegal's hands, really.
I think even the way that game has panned out, like, Monaghan are still fine. Like, they're after drawing Kildare away.
Yeah.
In Tullamore.
Okay.
In Tullamore.
Well, I mean, that's not a bad draw necessarily. Whereas Donegal have Tyrone, I know they're at home, but that's a difficult game. They're both difficult games, but the loser of that game didn't really get anything that worse off, I don't think.
No, it's not season. You don't feel it's season defining. But for Donegal, I'd say it's a big momentum for Donegal. Have had
it's huge for Donegal, definitely. Yeah,
they've had a howler of a season on off the pitch, and to get that bit of momentum and to win that game, They'll fancy it against their own boys as well. They will fancy that up in Ballybuffet. What a win that could be for them as well. But do you know the other thing with the draw was looking at the Division 3, the third pot teams are all Division 1 teams.
Yeah.
You know, which is such a surprise. That, again, you wouldn't have called that.
Roscommon, Monaghan, Tyrone, and
Mayo.
Yeah, Jesus, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, all in pot 3, like so. But for Monaghan, I agree. It's not season defining. That's as not to rain on Kildare's parade, but that's as good a draw as probably you could have got from Monaghan's perspective. It's a neutral venue, really, because obviously Newbridge is closed.
What's Tullamore like? I was never there.
Yeah, it's a nice pitch. Yeah. You kind of wonder what the crowd will Kildare get a big crowd behind them. They obviously haven't travelled well after it's been a stop-start season, but that win against the Rossies, they could get a big following there for Saturday night.
They need them. Teams need their crowd now, because it's going to come down to the last 5 or 6 minutes in every game.
The game's going to be tight,
and you're going to be like, get that wave of enthusiasm off your crowd. If you can hear the clapping in the crowd and there's only a couple of token gesture supporters, you're going out. You're going out. Everyone's in this together at this stage when it comes to knockout.
But isn't that a big advantage for Donegal? Like Ballybuffet will be rocking at the weekend. They've had a tough year across the board. The supporters will come out big time. The fact that it's against Tyrone, they won't fear Tyrone. And we said Tyrone, they're stalling.
Tyrone haven't had big support at all this year. Even in their game against Armada, it was 10,000.
Park yesterday was soulless in Breffni Park.
They need to come out now. Do you remember Armada did it before? I think it was before the Galway game in the quarter-final last year.
The quarter.
And they said, lads, we need the colour, we need the noise. Come on, this is huge for us. And they did. The stadium was absolutely unbelievable. It was rocking. And it went to penalties. It was sensational. That's what Tyrone need. They need to get the crowd back on side.
Yeah, 100%. So they're the first 3 of the 4 preliminary quarterfinals next week. Cork, Roscommon and Páirc Uí Chaoimh, Donegal, Tyrone and Ballybuffet, Kildare, Monaghan is going to be in O'Connor Park, Tullamore. All those 3 are on Saturday. Before we get into Galway-Mayo here, let's just talk about Armagh for a second, because Paddy, you mentioned the slice of luck. I suppose, was it even luck? But
just they got the breaks yesterday. Yeah.
Yes, the sliding doors moments. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago that have gone against Kieran McGeeney, where a game has been on a knife edge and Armagh come out the wrong side of it. This time they come out the right side. Let's just talk about Galway's game management though, because we kind of gave Mayo a bit of stick for it earlier on. Last year in the All Ireland quarter final, Galway were in complete control.
Yeah.
And we all remember the crossfield pass from Shane Walsh that ended up sparking the comeback from Armagh. Yesterday, they keep the ball for 90 seconds. They're in control. Sean Kelly is hobbling around the pitch. He's probably still on the pitch at that stage, hasn't been taken off. Peter Cook gives the ball across and just carnage. Mernon breaks free over the bar. They do earn that last shot, but as you said earlier on, it was a tough free. But even for a top team, Galway's free taking has been a bit all over the place this year as well. Are Galway? Would you be that worried about Galway? I know they've got a big game against Mayo, but I'd nearly back Galway to be able to get their season back on track.
Yeah, look, again, you're not writing off teams on the basis of just that game yesterday. I think Galway have built up a lot of credit in the bank for what they've done so far this season. But you're right, the worry, it's hard to get away from Galway. You're basing this on their forwards being hot. That Tierney, Walsh can hit the heights that we know he's capable of, and Comer. And the reality is, I don't like singing it out, lads, but Shane Walsh hasn't been playing well. That's, the penalty again, it's not a great penalty. Rafferty saves it. A couple of frees. You're basing Galway winning the All-Ireland on Shane Walsh being locked in and playing to his potential, and Comer the same, playing to his potential. And that's been a bit stop-start across the board, and that's, it's hard to get away from that. If you're, and Jimmy, you said it. You had a great quote there a couple of weeks ago. We're talking about the depth of squads, and that's all great and all that stuff. But the best teams still rely on their biggest players to do the job. That's great having loads of depth and loads of guys around the team, but Kerry are still relying on 2 or 3 key guys to nail it. So are the Dubs, and Galway are no different. We're talking about Galway winning the All-Ireland on the basis that Walsh lights it up, Comer lights it up, Sean Kelly. Yeah, and they probably haven't done that, and there's no 2 ways about it. That's, as much as it's a bad draw for Mayo to have to go to Salt Hill, Galway could have done with winning that group and going straight to a quarter final, particularly with injuries, knocks to Comer, to Sean Kelly obviously yesterday. That's cat amongst the pigeons teeth.
It is absolutely, Sean McCarron would, if they could get him back fit, he could be their full back. He will be their future full back. Joyce loves him. He's been there before. That would free Kelly up. he's just not obviously right yet. Hasn't been back. Kieran Malloy was back playing club football last weekend as well. And then just missing Comer. Like, Comer had to be brought off the bench late on against Westmeath. He's obviously not right. And they needed him against Westmeath. And they needed that red card against Westmeath to get over the line. And again at the weekend, it just felt like when they were missing Damien Comer, that fulcrum in their attack just wasn't there. Sean Kelly won the penalty and he scored 1-1. If they won that game yesterday, it was Sean Kelly who got them over the line.
Of course, a team is going to miss Damien Comer. It's obvious. Like, you think Clifford out of Kerry, he's that important to them. Teams, there's no outstanding team in this championship. That is the reality, and we have said that. That's the one prediction we nailed on for the start of the season. There is no team that has the luxury of not having their top players available, because it's so even across the board. And taking a Comer out of Galway is a massive blow to them. Massive blow. And if they're missing if they're missing Sean Kelly as well as Comer next Sunday against Mayo, that is a massive blow. That really tilts it in Mayo's favour. So teams just can't afford.
You can manage those kind of knocks and niggles with the 2-week break, but the fact they have the prelim, and then even if they win that a quarter final, then you're really getting fellas on the table to get them right for something else. So that was a bad result for Galway in terms of their minding their players. But I will say that Sean Kelly is an unbelievable operator. I think he is a great player. The way he can carry the ball and change direction and actually get scores. He doesn't just dish it off and dish off the responsibility either. He wants to get the score. But the thing, you're right about Shane Walsh. I'd be worried about him, because last year he hit a height in the All-Ireland final which was massive. And he could go away then, won the Club All-Ireland obviously, but you still have that pain of the All-Ireland defeat in the back of your head. You're kind of thinking, that needs to be remedied, you know, and you should have that kind of desire and focus to rectify that and win it this year. And I don't think that seems to be there with him at the moment. No, he's the type of fellow who can turn it on at any stage, but at the moment he doesn't seem to be locked in like the McGuigans or the Canavans or even the Cliffords. And for someone that just lost an All-Ireland final, I find it a little bit surprising, because he's an unbelievable player, a great player, unbelievable kicker, but he just needs, if he can improve that 10% that is there, that he's just not playing, it'll take all the way on to the next level. Whatever about Comer and missing this fella, that fella, and Comer is huge, but Walsh is the man. They need him, and they need him at a certain level.
Walsh's ceiling is so high.
Yeah.
Like his top form puts him as probably up there with Clifford as the best player in the game. Like, he's that good. Like,
when he's at it.
But that's what I mean, and we're talking about Galway. Many people, like, and I was one of these. I think they're really, really genuine All-Ireland contenders. It's on the basis that these guys play to their best, and that has to be a worry that they're not. They're not playing to. And you could kind of say, well, we're probably going to win this group. We might get an easier quarter final. We can time this a bit better. That's out the window now for Galway. That is, you need to peak now, next Sunday. That is as big a test as they're going to get playing their local rivals. So that's, and if he doesn't, and this is supposed to pressure a high level sport. If they don't perform, if Walsh or Comer's not available or Sean Kelly's not available, if they don't perform, Galway could be out of the challenge.
Yeah. And I had Galway as my favourites.
That's the reality.
But I'm concerned now with the injuries. And
are Cork your favourites now then?
No, but I fancy him to play well again the weekend. Team to watch.
Watch, and Derek Hanneman player of the year. Jimmy, we'll come back to you in 5 weeks' time. We'll see. We'll do a review.
I had moved Galway into number one in the Gaelic Football Power Rankings in the last couple of weeks, with the caveat that I expected it to change before the All-Ireland final this year.
Oh, I'm going to give a prediction, but I expect it to change.
When I'm wrong, I will be changing that.
Yeah, I'll change that when I'm wrong.
I'll explain my thinking behind that, and it's what you said earlier on.
Please do.
It's what you said earlier on, Paddy. There are no great teams yet at the moment. No, and it's as you both said there, a great player could inspire their team to win in All-Ireland this year. So, and saying that, we haven't mentioned Kerry and Dublin this week. Are we sleeping on how well Conor Callaghan is playing at the moment? 1-5 at the weekend.
No, I think there'll be plenty of time to get to those guys. I think it's very difficult to read into Dublin steamrolling a Division 4 team and Kerry blitzing Louth. Like Louth, the kick out thing with Louth again, we seen this in the Leinster final, it was an absolute car crash against Dublin. It was the same yesterday in the first half, and Kerry put the sword. Positive, without a doubt, yeah, positive performances from Dublin and Kerry, but in terms of long-standing grand statements on the back of those 2 wins for them yesterday, I don't think there's too much to be read into that. We'll review them better in the quarter-final when they play genuine opposition. And Dublin, I was at the Dublin game. Yeah, the scoreline looks great. That first 20 minutes from Dublin was appalling. So there's plenty of work still to be done. And the same with Kerry won convincingly. There was a couple of opportunities where they were struggling with Louth running at them in the first half again. There's work to be done, but
true.
If you're looking at some of the other contenders, Dublin and Kerry have 2 weeks off and they're straight to the quarter
exactly.
final. So that's a positive. That's definitely a positive.
They're ending the group stage on an absolute high,
yeah.
And like you saw it, like Clifford again delivers 2-4. I think he got Shawnee O'Shea kicks 1-8. Paddy's moving well. There's a bounce, and even the Dublin attack. I thought Paddy Small made a big difference. Basquel is again delivering once more. There's a nice, but I think fluidity to both of their attacks.
They're trending in the right direction. I agree.
But the only benefit the teams get from giving a lower ranked opposition a spanking like that is the forwards get that confidence. A forward doesn't care if he scores 2-4 against Louth or Sligo or Mayo or Galway. He's got the 2-4. Do you know what I mean? Like you bank that confidence and it goes on and on and on. Yeah. So for the forwards to be racking up those scores, it'll improve them so much as the season goes on. I think that's the only benefit. You can't look at Kerry's performance and say Kerry are back. Or you can't look at Dublin's game and think that they're great. Like those games, you can't judge the team, but you can just give confidence to the forwards.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't get predictions off you.
You won't be.
And you won't. I'll give a prediction, but I might change it if I'm wrong.
Well, you can just put that on the end of it.
That's the power rankings, boys. That's a different method altogether. They're not a predictions model. So we're saying all 4 games are very, very difficult to call, right?
Yeah, so tough.
But
so tough.
They should be. Finally, we're there. We're narrowing it down. The cream is rising to the top.
It's going to be savage.
Follow on from this weekend's excitement, and I think there will be some.
But you've got the fear. You finally got the fear now of going out.
Yeah.
So even if a team is 3 or 4 points up in a league game or in a round robin game, they could push on and win by 10. Here they're going to be like, right, we're 3 up, let's get cagey and let's try and see it out. You'll have all these things coming in. Like, they're all going to be close games. It'll all come down to the wire, I think. But if we are doing predictions, go on, we'll throw them off the crack.
God, this is gambling. Go on, yeah. 100 on red.
I think Kildare will win. Any takers?
Ooh, no, not for me.
I'm going with you at Kildare.
I think Tyrone will beat Donegal, even though it's on a Ballybuffet. Very close game, but I think
Paddy
will win.
I've been kind of backing Tyrone secretly all year, but again, I was so unimpressed with them yesterday.
You saw both teams this weekend, so you're in the best position to call this.
No pressure. Yeah, maybe Tyrone then, but again, I'm basing that on hoping that their best players perform, who they haven't really been outside of Canavan and they said Colm Kilpatrick. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Donegal have improved from where they were at, but yeah, maybe Tyrone. Yeah, that's tight. That's a tight one.
Very tight.
Mayo Galway then is so close. That's toss of a coin almost, depending on injury statuses. But because I have Galway as my favourites for the All Ireland all year, I'm going to stick with Galway.
It's very early in the week to call that game. That's what I'd say.
I know, but regardless, I'm sticking with
it. If you're Mayo, Killian O'Connor scores 3-6 in a club game there at the weekend. Is it too soon? There's no way they wouldn't be planning on bringing him in for this game. But do they have to bring him in now?
I'd say he'll be on the panel. He'll be there definitely. In the 26th.
Definitely on the panel.
I just think you take him for 5 minutes if there's a couple of minutes to go in a game.
Yeah, I agree. But that would not have been their plan. It would have been a plan further down the road, but not for 6 days' time. I think Galway will win that. Yeah,
their system should cause Mayo too many problems.
I think that's.
Do you see even in the Kerry Loud highlights? I only saw the highlights on Sunday game, but Kerry were taking shots. Clifford kicked 2 from about 45. Dermot O'Connor
55.
Dermot O'Connor kicked it from the other side, same distance. Like they have the long range kickers to even just keep the scoreboard ticking. Mayo don't seem to be ever able to keep the scoreboard ticking against a defence like that. That's where I think they might come unstuck, but it's very close.
It's going to be great. I'd love to back Mayo and be different here, but I'm just on the evidence of what we're seeing so far. I'm going to go for Galway. And then Roscommon Cork. I'm backing Roscommon to come through that game. Been very impressed by Cork. I think they're going to deliver on what they've shown us.
You're going
James.
Cork, Jimmy. Your boys
at home.
My boys.
At home. Go on. I'll go Cork.
James O'Donoghue's Cork. Okay. We've got 2 Tailteann Cup semi-finals this weekend, lads. I'm not going to say Meath are back, but Meath produced a good performance at the weekend. Confidence-inducing, I would say. Meath 223, Wexford 12 points on a sunny afternoon in Navan. Laois pulled off an exceptional victory away in the Gaelic grounds. This game was very, very close. A kind of calamitous goal laid on.
Never across your own goal, man.
Exactly. Limerick defender, crossfield pass, intercepted, back of the net. Laois hold on. The scenes with Billy Sheehan and his players after.
Big win for Laois again. Credit.
Massive.
2 massive wins on the road for them.
Huge.
They've got the bum draw getting down, who did a number on Cavan again. I scrap Cavan win the Tailteann Cup. They're never going to win this competition. If they haven't won it in these 2 seasons.
How sickening for Cavan. They just fell flat in their face this year.
And
the
last
whole
year's
year.
final. Yeah.
They'd have backed themselves, I would say, in April.
Oh, I know they backed themselves, yeah.
They'd have taken Armagh in that Ulster quarter final. They fell short. Consigned the Tailteann Cup again and just
been a bad year
very poor. Very poor stuff. And obviously then, so we've got Laois and Down in the semi-final, and we've got Meath up against Antrim. Antrim posting 119 against Carlow, conceded 115. I've been told of all the quality goalkeepers in Division 4, and there are some quality goalkeepers in Division 4, Darragh Brooks, Mark Jackson. Michael Byrne, the Antrim keeper, is one to watch. He's been absolutely incredible so far this year for them. Kicks points, his kick-outs are unbelievable. I think he actually went off late on in that game against Carlow, so if he's missing at the weekend, that's a huge boost for Meath. That game obviously has the added addition of Andy McEntee going back to take down the Meath team that he managed for 6 years and up against Colm O'Rourke. So that is going to be
Andy wouldn't be like that, would he?
That's going to be a feisty affair. When Andy McEntee, when the mics were put in front of him in January after his first game in charge of Antrim, the first thing he said was, "How did Meath get on?"
He's a Meath man.
He's a Meath man through and through. So yeah, absolutely.
But what are your predictions there? Are we going back to the old 90s classics of Down and Meath in a final in Croke Park?
I think so. That's what it'll be.
That'd be a good final, lads. That would be a good final for the Tailteann Cup.
It would be a good final. I think offensively, I just think Meath are going to do damage to Antrim's defence. I think Antrim will post scores, but I think that'll be a high scoring game. But I just think Meath are just in the groove up front. Aaron Lynch, Jordan Morris are posting big scores from play. James McEntee kicked 4 or 5 points from centre forward the last day. They seem to have just clicked.
Where's that game on?
In the last couple of weeks. It's
Croker
Park. Bolton Croker. So, it's a big carrot to be there in Croker. I'm getting a bit of confidence, so we'll see how that goes. Down or Laois, I think Down. I've said it early on in the year. I thought Down were a team to watch.
They're the big favourites.
I think Down are going to get over the line there. So, we're nearly done, lads. There's been so much going on this weekend that I'm afraid that we've possibly missed something. But
Jimmy needs to get some sleep, to be fair to him.
Yeah, Jimmy needs some sleep. Paddy, you need to take a break after a chaotic weekend.
I'm off. I'm off to Italy.
Oh, you're away. Lovely.
Yeah, I'm going to miss all this stuff. I'll be watching GA go sitting by Lake Como.
Oh,
gorgeous.
Well, what about that? Bit of Stardust, isn't it?
That is.
That'd be lovely.
Yeah.
How long? 5 days?
I'd have to.
A week. One of my mates is getting married down in Italy. Has no options.
Lovely.
Yeah. So, a bit of crack. Yeah, looking forward to that.
Taking holidays in the middle of championship.
I've done my hard yards. I'll leave GA go to my colleagues for the weekend. But what a platform again. Yeah, phenomenal.
Were you saying, and I saw you on Instagram or was it Twitter, were you saying that Michael Murphy looks like Scotty Scheffler?
He does. Absolute ringer.
Spit off him.
Absolute
James.
spit. He knows himself.
Welcome to 2022.
He was getting stopped to ask. He gets asked for photos. People think he's the guy.
Jesus.
Did the Scheffler win the Masters? Was that when it kind of everyone kind of was the Masters or was the Open? It was the Masters, wasn't it?
He won the Masters, 2022.
Yeah. That's when it kind of all came to the fore. Absolute ringer.
Murphy, a good golfer as well. To be fair to him.
Okay.
I'd have had him down for the.
Not surprised by that. Not surprised by that at all.
Yeah, Scotty Scheffler.
I stayed up for the golf last night. Actually,
we all did.
Yeah, we all did.
Never. Every time I say this, never again, and I keep getting suckered in.
But final word on Rory. Did he do anything wrong? I thought he played exceptionally well all weekend.
He's waiting for other people to lose. You got to go and win it yourself.
When he does that, though, he'd be all over the place.
He's the equivalent of conceding short kickouts and parking the bus. No, it's not enough, man.
Yeah.
I was going for it. Like,
so close.
Do you know what? If you look at Twitter, like, it's there'll be people like, I don't really like McIlroy. I don't.
I love McIlroy.
Everyone is rooting for McIlroy to win.
Yeah.
Everyone is, and it's.
But you can tell he wants it so bad as well.
Yeah.
He's been second so many times.
But he's the way he was treated, like shafted by the old Saudis and the PGA. It would have been a lovely one to win so soon after that came out.
He just took that
Do you know
line
what,
down.
Put it to everybody.
They've made They've made it absolute.
What can he do?
What can he was the spokesperson against it, and next thing behind his back, they just settled the deal. And then they gave him an interview straight away, going, "How'd you get on there?" Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed.
I'd say.
It's not ideal.
I'd say Rory's a savvy enough operator that there's some little deal be done in the background. He'll be fine.
Yeah. But he has that.
That's what it would have been nice for him to win.
He has that new gig going where they're doing the indoor thing. Did you see that? Indoor Tiger.
Crazy guy.
No, they have this new company
Pirates Cove
where you do an indoor event with like a couple of thousand people at it. They drive it onto the screen and then they have like a short indoor course.
Is this a Vegas thing?
It's in the States, alright.
It's in the States,
but it has huge backers, like all the
Did you meet Ted Bowley when you were over in Vegas? Were you doing some deals over there? Marketing deals. Look at him.
Jimmy was incredibly quiet. I told you I got tagged on an Instagram post that was deleted in the middle of the morning. Like you were just you kept
rid of the phone,
Jimmy.
I swore I would, and I did. I kept to my promise.
Yeah, well played. That's the way to be. Listen, welcome home.
Not his first rodeo.
Welcome home. Happy birthday, lads! Isn't it lovely to be excited and talking up the football?
It's magic, isn't it?
Yeah. Love the football.
If only the refs would get sorted now. If the refs got things sorted,
I'm going reading that rule book now. So, and if we get any guff on Twitter, I'm the man to refer.
Send that on to me. I'm going to read that on holidays.
Send that on to me.
I'll read that sitting by the lake now next week.
Enjoy the break, Paddy.
23.1.
Enjoy the break. We'll be back next Monday with the football pod. Thank you all for listening in and tuning in. We will speak to you very soon. James, Paddy,
cheers, boys.
be good.